Welcome back to the deep dive. We are jump right into the water today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, focusing on what might be the single most critical bit of competitive swimming, the start.
Absolutely. You know, in sprints especially, that dive phase, getting to the 15-meter mark efficiently, it can account for, well, anywhere from a tiny fraction up to maybe 26% of the total race time.
Wow, 26%, that's huge.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like raw power off the block, is it?
Not at all. It's about micro-coordination, and that's our mission today, really, to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding those tiny technical differences.
Yeah.
We're looking specifically at elite versus sub-elite male swimmers and how they coordinate their bodies, specifically the trunk and the thigh, through that whole dive sequence.
And we've got some really solid science to back this up, right?
Huh.
Based on some cutting-edge biomechanics.
Exactly. We're pulling insights from a great paper titled Coordination Patterns of the Swimming Start, a comparative study between elite and sub-elite swimmers.
Okay, got it.
It's in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine, the 2025 volume. Lead author Julien. And honestly, if you're into the visuals, the full paper is worth checking out. Lots of data maps.
Right. And the method they used sounds complex. Coupling angle mapping. How should we break that down for listeners? We'll be talking coordination patterns, segmental dominance.
Yeah, think of CAM like this. It's a super high-def tracker for how body parts move together. Not just angles, but the timing, the synchronization, or maybe the lack of it.
Okay.
Specifically between the trunk, your core, kind of your steering, and the thigh, which is, you know, your main engine for propulsion off the block.
So CAM tells us which part is leading the dance, basically.
Yeah.
In each phase.
Pretty much. Which segment is dominating the movement across the 4 phases? On block, flight, entry, and then the transition underwater.
And the bottom line, the performance gap, really shows why these details matter, doesn't it?
It's stark. The elite swimmers hit that 5-meter mark way faster, 1.35 seconds on average, versus 1.63 seconds for the sub-elites. That's nearly a quarter of a second lead before they even take a proper stroke.
That's massive in a race.
It is. But what's really fascinating is that the total time spent in the start across all 4 phases was actually quite similar between the groups.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about spending less time overall.
Nope. It's how they use that time, how they sequence the coordination. That's where the winning edge comes from.
Okay, let's unpack that, starting right on the block, the push-off phase. Elites were faster here.
Significantly faster on the block itself. Less time spent just standing there. 0.54 seconds for the elites.
Compared to?
0.66 for the sub-elites. That difference, that tenth of a second might seem small, but it points to a big strategic difference right from the start stance.
How so? What did the CAM data show about their posture, their coordination at that point?
Well, at the moment their hands left the block, the handoff the elite swimmers showed a pattern where both the trunk and the thigh were rotating downward together.
Downward.
Yeah.
So leaning forward, like a track start, but really aggressive.
Exactly. A very front-weighted position. They're basically already falling into the dive, generating that horizontal momentum earlier.
And the sub-elites?
Kind of the opposite pattern. Their trunks were rotating upward relative to their thighs. It suggests more of a rear-weighted stance, more vertical.
Which would delay getting horizontal speed.
Precisely. It delays that crucial forward acceleration into the water.
Okay, so elites are off faster, but they still need that explosive push, right? If they're spending less time pushing, where's the power coming from?
That's where segment dominance comes in, right after handoff as they're actually pushing. The elites showed almost total thigh dominance.
Like nearly 100%.
Yeah, a 0.99 dominance rate. It means their propulsion is almost entirely driven by powerful leg extension, max force from the legs.
Optimizing the engine, like you said.
Exactly. Now, the sub-elites, they actually showed trunk dominance initially.
Trunk dominance, so lifting the chest first.
It seems like it. Relying more on lifting the trunk, maybe to get aligned, before the legs really take over the propulsion, that's less efficient for generating that immediate maximal force.
So the thigh dominance lets the elites get away with that shorter block time without losing speed.
It looks that way. They prioritize force generation via the thighs immediately. The sub-elites seem to prioritize alignment using the trunk first, which takes a bit longer.
This ties into something you mentioned, variability. Coordination angle variability, CAV. Usually variability sounds bad, like inconsistency, but the elites showed more variability just before leaving the block.
Yeah, this is a really cool finding. Higher CAV right before the back foot leaves. And in this context, it's likely not error. It's probably a sign of high-level adaptability. fine-tuning.
Adaptability. How?
Well, it suggests elite swimmers aren't all doing the exact same thing. They might be using slightly different, highly optimized strategies, maybe adjusting their arm swing, like you see in a Volkov start variation.
Ah,
They're managing the massive forces they generate and making tiny adjustments to get the perfect body position for the flight phase. It's like personalized precision.
okay, so they launch with precision, then they're in the air, the flight phase. You said the patterns here were more similar between the groups?
Broadly, yes. Both groups are primarily thigh dominant during flight, which makes sense. You need that leg drive to control your rotation in the air.
But the elites still had an edge.
A subtle one. They finished extending their bodies a bit earlier in the flight, and again they showed higher CAV, especially in the first half of the flight.
More adaptability, more fine-tuning for the entry.
Seems like it, setting themselves up for that critical, clean entry into the water.
Right, the entry phase. Hands touch the water, body follows. You said this is where the dive can be won or lost because of drag. What's the key difference Cam revealed here?
This is maybe the most crucial and maybe counterintuitive finding. During that entry phase, from hand touch until they're fully under the elite, swimmers showed more trunk-dominated coordination.
Wait, trunk dominance. Didn't we just say thigh dominance was key for power? Why switch to the trunk now? Isn't that like hitting the brakes?
It sounds like it, but the goal changes here. It's not about generating more speed. It's about steering and minimizing drag.
Steering. How?
They use a subtle, controlled upward lift or stabilization from the trunk. It helps them smoothly convert that downward vertical velocity they have from the dive into purely horizontal velocity under the water surface.
Ah, so the trunk isn't lifting them up, it's helping them level off smoothly, avoiding that big splash and deep dive.
Exactly. It facilitates a shallow, low-drag horizontal entry. Think of it like a plane gently leveling off for landing.
Okay, that makes sense. So what are the sub-elites doing wrong here?
They tend to stay more thigh-dominated during entry. Their legs are still driving the movement more.
And what does that do?
Well, the analysis suggests that this excessive thigh-up movement can cause the body to arch backwards. The paper calls it a banana shape.
Chuckle slightly, the banana shape.
Okay.
That sounds good.
It is. Technically, it sounds a bit funny, but biomechanically, it's terrible for drag. That arch dramatically increases the body's cross-sectional area hitting the water.
Creating a bigger hole, more resistance.
Massive resistance. A huge spike in form drag, which just kills the speed they worked so hard to build on the block. Any advantage is gone.
Wow. So that inefficient entry leads right into the final piece.
Yeah.
The transition phase. That's getting aligned underwater before kicking.
Right. Aligning parallel to the pool bottom, getting ready for the underwater dolphin kicks. And this phase is all about control and minimizing active drag, the drag you create by moving underwater.
And the elites show better control here too.
Much better. They actually show a weaker thigh-dominant pattern here. They're not forcefully driving with the legs anymore.
Powering down slightly.
Sort of, and crucially, their movement is smoother, more stable. The study measured something called IDP-ROM.
IDP-ROM.
Interdata point range of motion, basically how much the segments are moving between the camera frames. Lower IDP-ROM means less jerky movement.
So the elites are smoother, more controlled, less unnecessary wiggling underwater.
Exactly. Minimal movement, minimal active drag. It lets them maintain velocity and sets them up for a powerful breakout towards the 15-meter mark.
And the sub-elites, I guess more jerky, more drag.
You got it. They actually show their burst of trunk dominance much later, like in the middle of this transition phase.
So they're making big adjustments with their trunk after they've already entered, while moving fast and deep.
Yes. And with higher IDP-ROM, meaning bigger, less controlled movements, that sudden change in trunk angle, deep underwater at high speed, that creates significant drag, both active and passive.
So any attempt maybe to compensate earlier is just wiped out by this late, inefficient adjustment.
Pretty much. It really highlights the main takeaway. The best start isn't just about being fast off the block. It's about balancing that initial speed with incredibly precise phase-specific coordination to minimize drag throughout the entire sequence.
Okay, so let's boil this down. If you're a swimmer or coach listening, what's the absolute core insight here?
I'd say it's this. Yes, thigh power drives the start, but the timing and location of trunk control, that trunk dominance, is what separates a clean, fast dive from a high-drag one.
Specifically, trunk dominance during entry for the elites to get horizontal.
Right, to steer into that low-drag entry, and then less dominance, more control in the transition. For the sub-elites, that trunk action comes too late during transition, causing drag.
Timing is everything.
It really is. But there's that other piece too, the variability, the CAV.
Right, the fact that elites showed more variability at key points. What's the final thought on that? Why isn't there just one perfect way to dive?
Because the research strongly suggests the best technique is actually highly individual. That high CAV isn't random error. It shows that top swimmers have optimized their start based on their own body, their own strength, the specific momentum they generate.
So copying one champion start might not work for everyone.
Probably not perfectly. It points towards needing individualized coaching, monitoring how your segments are coordinating, rather than just enforcing one single model. It's about finding the best strategy for the individual athlete.
That's a fantastic point. The complexity is incredible. Truly, the devil's in those coordination details.
Absolutely.
So if you want to really dig into these patterns, you see the Quanmo visualizations we talked about, we definitely recommend reading the full article.
Yeah. Again, it's Coordination Patterns of the Swimming Start, a comparative study between elite and sub-elite swimmers, published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine.
It really provides that next level of detail.
For sure.
We'll keep bringing you these kinds of deep dives into, well, the complex stuff. Make sure you follow the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown.
Lots more to explore.
Absolutely. Here's where it gets really interesting.